Mike Sabin.
Sir, look, I agree with the Honourable Phil Goff in the last points that he makes, and it's very explicit from what I can see, certainly, sir, that the cost recovery that is in discussion and relates specifically to this bill deals with a direct benefit to a particular individual or organisation. And if Mr Goff is seriously suggesting that at $7 a police vetting for the narrow field of people that would fit the definition as to the private individual getting a greater benefit than the public good, at $7 clipping that ticket, that we're somehow, that's the police's only way to recover this massive hole in the budget that he seems to think there is, then I think that's slightly delusional. The reality is, sir, is this is about cost recovery. It's not about profit making. It's about recovering costs where the police are providing a service to an individual or to an organisation that goes above and beyond the interests of the wider public. And I'm sure, sir, this will be a very important part of the focus of the Select Committee process and the submissions, is to see exactly where it is that the various stakeholders see that line sits. Because I think it's very clear, certainly from this national government's perspective, is it's very important that the police provide the services that they do. I mean, once upon a time it was called a police force, wasn't it? But it's now a policing service or what have you. The world moves on, it's a different place. But, sir, this is not about changing the way that the police go about doing business. It is about saying where there are individuals who will accrue a personal benefit, or there is an individual that will essentially benefit without the public enjoying that wider benefit in terms of the police time, the police resources, then possibly there should be some recovery of that cost at a very, very minimal cost, sir. And it's important to note that we're one of the very few, and I haven't dug in far enough to find out whether there are any other jurisdictions that don't actually have any form of cost recovery, but it is actually very commonplace. And it goes a lot further than what's just being suggested here, sir, in terms of cost recovery for police vetting. So it's important, I think, sir, to understand that there are a greater use of police resources, greater use of police time and constraints, therefore, on other services that the police can provide the wider public, sir, as a result of doing police vetting. So it's about getting a balance which ensures that if there are costs associated to that and the individual or organisation gets a private benefit that is over and above or usurps the greater good, the greater public good, sir, that there's an opportunity for the police to recover some of those costs and arguably put those back into a more effective and more better delivery of better public services. Sir, the Policing Act doesn't specifically, as the Minister mentioned, doesn't specifically enable this to currently happen. And obviously it has been looked at some time before. Sir, it very much is about recovering costs, and I would suggest that it only just recovering costs. And you know, Mr. Goff went on to point out, and look, you'll get no complaints from me about the fact that, you know, it has been a very, very tough time for the public sector organisations, for organisations such as the New Zealand Police, to work through a global financial crisis and the problems that we've had financially as a nation with the Canterbury earthquakes. Sir, and everyone has had to cut their cloth to fit, and that has been a very challenging time. But one thing I will say is we can dish out a huge bouquet to the police in the sense, sir, that what they have done is entirely changed their focus far more so to a prevention focus, and they've been far better resourced in terms of you know, their equipment and the tools of the job, if you like, sir, to be able to get out there and actually put more man hours, more effective man hours on the street. And so the way we are policing today is not the same way as we were doing it 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I anticipate that will continue to evolve for a number of reasons. And it is not a case that there is just a blank cheque that can be written out. The balance is always, of course, sir, is ensuring that the public are protected, and there is, you know, we've got a sinking lid on the amount of crime. And the reality is, sir, is we're at a position where we're at a 35-year low in crime rates. Now, we can get a little bit cynical about statistics from time to time, Sue, but the reality is, if you look at the morale of the police and you look at the public satisfaction, they are both good. They are both saying that the police in very, very tough times are doing a very, very good job. Sure, in a perfect world, we'd resource them with more, do more and be able to achieve more and there wouldn't be any crime. But the reality is that's not the world that we live in, sir. And it's important that we're always looking to strike the appropriate balance that doesn't compromise the greater good for the public, sir. And I believe that this bill provides an opportunity for us to ask that question and get that balance right where it comes to police vetting. I commend it, sir.
That's right.